Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or good night, whatever it is your time of the world is. Hope you guys are doing well. And as we get closer and closer to the end, and we are very close to the end, my prayers for everybody out there is that hearts and minds will be softened, and that indoctrination from a lifetime of religious indoctrination will drop off the eyes of people and they will come to our Creator. And salvation always begins at the stake or the cross or the shed blood of our Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach. Most call him Jesus, but as I always say, there were no J's in Hebrew. So Acts 4:12 says there's only one name under heaven by which we may be saved. And it's not a name that wouldn't be his. It would be Yahushua. It's like Joshua with a Y. In Hebrew, Yahushua, Yeshua, means salvation, right? The name Jesus does not mean, like, there's no meaning for salvation. In fact, it sounds like Jesus, right? And it sounds pagan. It didn't come into existence until 1611. Guys, so 600 years ago, the name Jesus was invented. It was never, ever, ever a name prior to that. So as we learn the walk and we see this walk, it feels extremely lonely. Is family disappear, friends disappear, the secular stuff we did with the world disappears, or it should be disappearing. As we get closer to our Creator, Yahuwah, Yad Vadhed, we are supposed to look less and less like the world. When we wake up and we find ourselves in Babylon, in whichever, the Babylon is just the matrix that we are in, right? The world that we have created around us, and it's a worldly world. It's full of people that have openly sold their souls to Lucifer. They have openly given their lives to evil. And the one thing about the laws, statutes, and commands of our Creator is they are holy. They are righteous. There's no weird stuff like Satanism has you dancing around in Baphomet suits and drinking blood and doing just great, great evil. And those things alone, just dancing around in a pentagram with a Baphomet suit on, that breaks commandments. Drinking blood, that breaks commandments. Offering child sacrifice, that breaks commandments. Every one of those things we have a guide for, but we wouldn't have a guide if we don't have the Torah. You see, nobody knows what iniquity is until we are able to find it. And we are unable to find it because we haven't read it. We understand and we find it in the laws, statutes, and commands of our Creator from Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Inside of those 5 books, we get the basis and the foundation for how our Creator wants us to live, how He wants us to worship, how He wants us to communicate, how He wants us to do everything. And you may feel that this walk is extremely lonely, but the walk our Creator is walking is lonelier. And what in the world do I mean by this? It means that we can look to the words of our Messiah in a parable, and you can see what the kingdom of heaven is like. Matthew 22:1. And Yahushua answered and spoke unto them again by parables and said, listen, folks, this is sad. This is very sad. These 2 next verses are sad. The kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son, and sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. So this is our Creator, and in this parable, He has told us that He has created, He basically said, come to my marriage feast. Come keep my Torah. Come walk with your Creator. Come receive the blessings of it. Come into the faith. Come into obedience. And, this is what He did, right? He said nobody came, right? And so He sends His Son, right? And His Son is a offering for us. His son is not going to walk off this plane in a glorious fashion. He's going to be slaughtered and crucified. And then he rises 3 days later, right? So our Creator said he built all of this for us. Again, he sent forth other servants, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage. But they made light of it, and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise. And the remnant took his servants, and entreated them spitefully, and slew them. So everybody out there who's been calling people to our Creator ends up getting everybody, not just his son. All the prophets were slain. You know, we right now in this world we are in are going to have a choice whether or not we want to die for our Creator or not. Will we stand tall and will we go to the end, or will we fold and live as the world lives, right? These people took the Creator's messengers and they killed them all. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth, and he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their cities. Then said he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. So those servants went out into the highways, and they gathered together as many as they found, both good and bad, and the wedding was furnished with guests. This is where it gets strange. This is where we must understand. When our Messiah says in Matthew 7 that many know him, many will call upon his name, many will do miracles in the name of our Messiah, right? He says these people know our Messiah. They think they know our Messiah, because in the end of it, he says, depart from me, ye who work lawlessness, iniquity. So this is where it gets very important, guys. Verse 11. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. And he said unto him, friend, how came ye in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him into the outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Guys, this guy came to the wedding. He went out. He was just told he was sitting in the streets, and he was told to come to this wedding. And when he came to this wedding, he was cast into outer darkness. Why is that? Because his heart was not with it. If you think you're going to make it to the marriage without the Torah, without the blood of our Messiah, you're not. And this is our Messiah telling people right now that to go, your heart is not with it, because he came in. We don't know any of the requirements. We don't know much of anything other than this man was not found worthy. And how did he exactly say it? And this is the lesson for all of us right here on verse 12. And he said unto him, friend, how came ye in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. This is incredible, because we are the bride of Christ. We are the bride who will be ruling with our Messiah in Mount Zion, probably in a very short amount of time, the way things are going in the world, right? Things are getting really, really super bad. Verse 14, for many are called, but few are chosen. And that will lead me to the end of this segue, to the end of this segment. And, the question will always be, are you guys ready for the Messiah? And there's my dogs in the background. If you guys heard that, my apologies. I'm surprised that you only heard one. Are you guys ready for the Messiah? Do you guys read your Torah? Do you know what we will be judged by? My friends, we will all stand before the Creator naked, and we will be judged by the Torah. Ignorance will not be bliss when we are standing in the fire. We have this lifetime, and we have had this lifetime. Are we making time for our Creator? Are we willing to read his laws, statutes, and commands and apply them to our life? We can sit there and we can call upon the name of the Messiah, but when it's a fragment of time and you immediately go back into the same sin, or you keep getting caught up in this sin because you do not know the Torah, this is where it becomes love with our Creator. When you love his Torah, you will love his ways, because his ways are holy and his ways are righteous, and their ways will keep you alive. This is what people don't understand. They've been deceived by modern day religions that tell you that the laws of God are no more. They don't apply to you, right? That is a lie from the bottom of the pits of hell. And that is what our Satan, for sure, wanted to let everybody know, oh, the laws of God are no more. You know, do you realize what kind of people we can become when we don't have a rule book that breaks the heart of our creator every time that we break it? Guys, when we live in sin, when we're doing stuff outside of the Torah, we are breaking the heart of our creator, and we're adding more stripes to our Messiah, right? This is not the way it's supposed to be. We are called to be in holiness. We are called to be in perfection. We're not called to live in this world. We're not called to watch movies and watch all this filthy TV and all this evil music and things of this nature. Guys, that it corrupts you. What goes through the eyes are windows to the soul. Every time that people surf pornography, it destroys their heart, mind, and soul and marriage. And it's just of the devil. The entire thing is of the devil. My friends, we have a very, very short amount of time left. And our Creator calls you. He calls you. He calls me. He calls us all. Right? It's Yod-Hed, Vod-Hed. And this is I am that I am. Behold the hand, behold the nail. He who breathes life into all things. You know, there's no greater thing. You know, there's nothing greater that I could do in the world than proclaim my faith of what I have found and give it to you guys. Because I have never, ever found anything more potent. I've never found anything more holy. I've never found anything more righteous. And people will constantly accuse me. They're like, oh, Jason, you live in, you say you're perfect or you don't sin. Folks, I've never said that. In fact, I'm probably the biggest sinner among all of you. Remember, one of the sins is if you hate your brother, you are a murderer, right? So every time I have a foul thought from my lifetime of wars and things that I've done, every time that I do not forgive my brother or I hold something against somebody or something of that sort, I've broken a commandment, right? So there is none among us who are righteous. There is none among us who are holy. The only way we can weigh this amongst ourselves is by using the Torah. So I use the Torah all the time and I fall short. I fall short constantly. I have the blood of the Messiah, but that does not mean because we fall short that we shouldn't be trying to walk this path perfectly. Guys, it is a beautiful path. Who wants to see their mother naked, right? Who wants to murder their uncle? Who wants to steal from their neighbors? Who wants to drink blood? Who wants to offer their kids to Moloch? Who wants to do all that, right? The Torah tells us what to do and what not to do, and it's not creepy stuff. It is not like the creepy Luciferians that do all this creepy, crazy stuff, pant legs up and hand signs and blindfolds. And I mean, it's a creepy level where our Creator is not. This stuff is good. It is pure. And I hope I can convince you guys to at least read your Bibles. And I hope Yah is working in you. I pray for you guys all the time. To those who made it to the end of this, much love. I'm out.